Yes. Okay.
You look great.
Who got unmuted?
Me.
Oh.
Your lighting looks great. Sorry about the mess in the back, you guys, but you look great.
Thank you. You can all say that to me every morning. Just call me up and say, you look great today. That's what I need to hear. So good morning, everybody, and happy solstice. It's a summer solstice. So what that means is that this is the longest day of the year. Hooray. Longest day of the sun. And my thought for you is sort of that idea of remembering where the light comes from, because we have this in many traditions. The idea behind the solstice and the winter solstice and the summer solstice is that it's this cycle of things dying and being reborn. So in the winter, it's that the world dies, is that the energy of God, even in those traditions, sometimes it says the sun god dies, or they go into that dark space. And then the summer solstice is when they're reborn, is when that energy comes back to the world. It's when that light comes back to the world. It's renewed. And for us as, human beings, that's kind of what we try to follow in an inward way of what it feels like to go through that process of, you go into dark spaces, you go into the inner world, you go into the places that feel like, light can never touch it, right? That's what we do. We get lost in those spaces, and then one day something wakes us up again. Right? Something brings the light back in. And so we feel like there's that cyclicalness that happens in us, but yoga reminds us that the sun never really goes anywhere, right? That energy never really goes anywhere. So even though it might look like it's cycling, right? It might look like it's going through death and rebirth, is that it's not. It's an eternal light. It's an eternal presence. It's an eternalness that we're able to tap into. And when things feel like they're too dark, is you can go into that understanding of where your light comes from. So it's just a reminder that if we're following the sun, if we're following the outward sun, we're going to go through that cycle. And that cycle is often what's referred to as samsara, right? Wandering. I wander through the dark and I wander through the light. But there's a moment where you can start to realize that enlightenment, right? The place where that light never dims and there's just the experience of the eternalness of things, is that experience can happen any moment. And so I've been teaching this week on what it is that stands for you in the doorway between your own dark and your own light. What stands in the doorway between your understanding of that unconditional love or that unconditional light that's always present, right? And the energy for that is Ganesh. And the energy for that experience of equanimity and the infiniteness of things in a form is Shiva. So they're connected to each other. As the Ganesh stands in the doorway, that's his tradition. That's where you put him, in the doorway. He stands in the doorway to our understanding of how to live in that state of presence, regardless of whether the sun is shining or not, right? And these are times when we can look out any given day and the sun might be up, and in our minds, the sun has gone somewhere crazy, right? The light has gone somewhere else. So practicing to figure out where is your doorway, where is your gate to that experience of enlightenment, and what's standing between you and it, right? What's the last thing that needs to be understood or that needs to be integrated for you to just live in that state? Because it's not something far away, right? That's the reminder, is the sun is always there. It's not dependent on you doing something. It just matters that you let the sun hit you from the top of you to the bottom of you. So eyes closed. Bring yourself into that inner world. Of course, I've been offering the mantra this week to Ganesha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. The way to not just say remove obstacles. Usually what we say Ganesh does is he removes obstacles. He makes it easy for us. But to call on Ganesh is the way that says, bring me to my own doorway of enlightenment. And whatever it is that stands in the way, whatever is the gatekeeper there, the doorkeeper there, let me see it for what it is. That it's part of the light. It's not something separate. So breathe deep into yourself from the top of your head. Bring the breath all the way down to the base of the spine. Good. And you're bringing the breath all the way back up from the base to the top of the head. Good. Inhaling the breath at the crown. As you exhale, bring the breath down from the crown to the base of the tail. And as you inhale, bring the breath spiraling up the spine, all the way up through the crown of the head. And then exhale it back down. Keep going that way. See if you can get that pause between the breath to disappear. You can actually just feel your inhales and your exhales flowing into each other. There is no light, there is no dark. There's just that eternalness of things. There's just that eternal space that holds you. It does hold you. That's what we forget, is we think we're walking in this world alone. We think that somehow we have to create stability and we have to create places where we hold ourselves together. But if you let go into that infiniteness, is you're held. So find the cycle of the breath where there is no pause. If you like that mantra, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, the call to Ganesh, bring me to the place where I can see the doorway to my own enlightenment. Good. With the next exhale, let the breath go. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. And we'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands from front of your heart center, please. And then bring your hands to the front of the knees or the thighs. Just start to circle your torso. Make nice big spirals. Start moving back a little bit. There you go. I think that's good. Now they should be able to see you a little bit better. Good. Move yourself the other way, you guys. Spiral the other way. Nice. From the top of you to the bottom of you, the light shines. And we start to talk about the energetics, the yogic energetics, and what the chakras are and what all those inner energies are. And it's easy to describe them in comparative ways, right? This one's brighter than that one. This one's moving faster than the other one. It doesn't mean anything, right? Your light shines from the top of you to the bottom of you. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Stretch your arms up to the sky. Good. Interlace your fingers. Press heels of the hands all the way up. Push out. Good. So pull from your armpits up. And then drag your shoulders down and wide away from your ears as the crown of your head pushes higher. Nice. Lean to your right, please. Side body stretch. Good. Beautiful. Keep that left hip down. Let your right hand touch down to the floor. Keep reaching through the left. Extend, extend, extend. Beautiful. And then you're going to turn. So bring both hands down to the floor. Turn your belly towards that right thigh. So you're actually curling into your spine. Good. So push your seat back down, but you're leaning over that right leg. Good. Turtle your back. Still in the twist. Good. And then walk your hands back to center, please, in a forward fold. So keep your hands on the floor mark. Just walk yourself forward to the center of your mat. Good. Keep that roundness in your spine. So you're rooting the seat and you're finding the openness of the lower back. Good. And then walk your hands back in, please. Beautiful. Inhale the arms back up to the sky. Breathe long through the side ribs. Pull up. Interlace your fingers. Press heels of the hands up to the sky. Good. Pull from your armpits. Pull up. Good. And then draw the shoulders down and wide as you push up through the crown of your head. Beautiful. Lean to your left. Side body stretch. Good. Don't let the shoulders hike up as you do that. So you're still leaning from your side body, from your ribs, from the top of your hip, you're leaning. And then left hand touches down, right arm continues to reach. Good. You can bend that left elbow as much as you'd like. Go as far out to the left as you'd like. Good. Nice, you guys. And then curl in again. Take both hands to the floor over that left thigh, round into your back. So as you round, try to pull your left rib cage up and wide, your left low belly up and wide. Nice. Good. And then walk yourself still, that same action back towards center. So come into the forward fold, fingers on the floor. Stay round in your back rib cage, stay round in your back body. Good. One more breath, curl in, push your seat back. Nice. And then walk the hands in, please. Roll forward to hands and knees. And find your way into downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Fingers spread wide. Good. And then let your knees bend in your downward facing dog. So as the knees bend, you can pull the tops of your thighs back. You can pull your hips back a little more and then start to cat-cow your spine. Nice. So there's a story in the yogic stories. Of course, there's always a story. But there's a story about the Trinity of the gods. And the story goes that Brahma, the creator, and Vishnu, the preserver, were arguing with each other one day about which one of them was greater. Saying, no, I'm the best because I create everything and, I can do this and I can do that. And Vishnu's like, no, I'm the best because I'm the one who keeps everything going. And without me, all of your things would die. And they're arguing. And so this pillar of light appears out of nowhere. And they're both completely wondering, what the hell is that? A couple more breaths. And so they decide that they're going to try and figure out what it is. Let your legs go to straight, please. Good. So they agree that Brahma is going to fly as high as he can to try and find the end of this pillar of light, the top of it. And Vishnu is going to fly down as far as he can and see if he can find the bottom of it. They're going to find the end of it because it seems like it's endless. Deep breath in. Good. Drop your knees to the floor, please. Child's pose. Hips back to your heels. Nice. And then walk your torso over the right thigh. Good. And take that left wrist to cross over the right. So you're really reaching as far as you can through that left side body. And so the two gods are flying and they're flying, and they're trying to find the end of this pillar of light. And they're going and going and going, and neither of them can find it. So finally they decide to turn back. And so they meet each other again, and they report to each other, and Brahma says to Vishnu, well, did you find the end of it? And Vishnu says, no, I really couldn't find the end of it. And Brahma says, oh, well, I found the top of it. And, it's whatever he makes up that he thinks that it is. Come back to center, please. Go to your left. Right? He lies and he says that he found the top. He didn't. And so they can't figure out what it is. They say, whatever it is, it must be bigger than both of us because we cannot find the end of it. And so they're still in this state of sort of arguing about what it could be. And then Vishnu appeared. My God. Shiva appears and puts the argument to rest. And he says, it's me. And without me, both of you are without purpose. Right? Both of you are without meaning. So Shiva, that energy that is the infinite, it's not the beginning, it's not the middle, it's not even the end. It's where cycles disappear. And the light is just the light. And there's no concept of dark. Come back to center. Good. Bring yourself back up to hands and knees, please. Downward facing dog. So this is what we practice for, right? Is to come back to that state where all of the cycles stop being cycles, where samsara is not something that we have to go through, but it's simply an awareness of this is how the light moves. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. You are made of prana. You are made of light. Literally, bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack right hip on top of left. Open, open, open. Squeeze that heel in towards your butt and try to pull your knee longer away from your hip. So lengthen your thigh. There you go. Yeah, really good, Harriet. Good. One more breath. Get long from armpit to tip of your knee. Beautiful. And then go ahead and release. Send the right foot forward between the hands. Lunge. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. High lunge. Interlace your fingers. Press heels of the hands up to the sky. Again, reaching through your armpits. So as you pull up, your hip points lift. And then you can send your right knee deeper into the lunge. Good. On your exhale, keep your shoulders up, but bring your hands forward in front of your chest, round into your back. So push back into your ribs. That's it. And lift those hip points a little higher. Awesome. Good, keep that, and then inhale the arms back up to the sky. Good, back thigh stays nice and lifted. Take the arms out wide, cactus arms. Good, and then twisting towards your right, so towards that front leg. Good, bring the left forearm onto the thigh, take the right arm over the ear on the diagonal towards the upper left-hand corner of your mat. Good. Push that left hip a little wider to the left, please. That's your back hip. There you go. And then come back to center, please. Inhale the arms to the sky, deep breath in. Good, and then release the hands down to the floor. Nice job, drop the back knee. Good, send your left hip back on top of that knee, wiggle the right leg forward to straight Ardha Hanumanasana, come up on the heel. Beautiful. Take both hands inside the front foot. Walk just a little bit to your left so that you're making a little bit more space on that right side body, and then turn your right toes in a lot. So turn the toes in, send your right butt cheek wide, send your right inner thigh wide. Good. Curl into your low belly, and then push your left inner thigh wide. So that's the leg supporting you, push it wide. Good. And then keep that feeling that you're pushing the legs away from each other. Scoop into your belly just a little bit more, and then start to drag that right hip back and in towards the midline. So your toes are gonna come back up to face the ceiling, but you're pushing your inner thighs wide. Good, so you're readjusting your pelvis to face forward, but with more space. You got it. And then walk your hands forward, please, back over top of that right leg. Drop your forehead down like it's gonna reach your shin, even if it's not going to. Drop it down like it will. Good. And then walk your hands back in, please. Good, bring that right foot back flat to the floor. Come into Anjaneyasana, so bring your knee forward over the ankle. Inhale both arms to the sky, back knee stays where it is. Good. Pull up again through your side body. And then hands come together at the heart center. Prayer twist, left elbow comes to the outside of your right knee. Good, keep pulling your belly back away from your thighs. Keep pulling your ribs in. And then you're pressing the elbow against the knee and dragging your arm bones up into the shoulder socket. So squeeze together behind your heart to open your chest a little higher. Good, where does the light come from? It has no beginning and no end. So if you're looking for the ends of it, you're gonna look forever. You just have to find it in the moment that you're in. The door is right in front of you. Come back to center, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good, and then release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Lift that back knee. Take your right leg up and back, down dog split. Good. Walk your hands back towards your left foot. Yeah, so you're coming into a standing split. Lucky you if you find your furniture or your wall behind you. Good. Deep breath in. Kick that thigh higher, nice and long. Nice. And then walk yourself forward again, back to the down dog split. Where does your strength come from? There you go. Release that right foot down to the floor, please. Beautiful. Slide forward to plank. Lower down slow to your belly. Good, and then forehead to the floor, point your toes, take your hands stretching back or your arms straight back behind you. Fingertips touch the floor, so palms facing down, fingertips on the floor. Good, press down into your legs, lift head, neck, and chest. Good, like you're coming into the front half of locust or even cobra, so you're lifting up. And I want you to feel that lifting up coming from the front of your pelvis, so your hip points pull forward and up. I want you to feel like the pelvis is where your back bend is coming from. Good. And then drag that tail towards your heels. Keep yourself right where you are. And then the inner thighs extend long. Lift from your inner thighs to take your legs up off the floor as well. Good. So the front of your body is pulling forward and up, sweeping forward and up. The back of the body is lengthening back and down. And then float the arms up if you'd like. There's no difference. It's just how long can I get like that pillar of light? No beginning and no end. Everywhere I look inside myself, there is light. Good. And then release, please. Planting the hands alongside you. Press back to child's pose for just a breath. Good. And then back to downward facing dog. Nice, you guys. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Good, bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack the left hip on top of the right, open. And again, squeeze your heel in towards your butt. So I want your quad to feel like it's actually working, your quadricep, your thigh muscle. I don't want it to be passive here. So flex the foot, squeeze in, and then try and draw your knee back in space a little bit more. So you're lengthening that line from the top of your hip through your thigh. Good. Yeah, squeeze the heel in, move your knee back and up in space. Good. And then go ahead and release, swing that left foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good, inhale the arms to the sky, high lunge. Interlace your fingers, press heels of the hands up to the sky. Good, pulling up through your armpits. Beautiful. And then as you exhale, bring the arms forward in front of you, round into your back body. So push the hands forward, keep your shoulders on top of your hips though. Don't lean your torso forward. Yeah, because this is what's actually gonna make space in your pelvis and your back. Good, and then take the arms back up to the sky, get super long again. And then elbows out and wide cactus arms. Twist to your left, please. So you're turning towards the front leg. Good, back thigh gets a little bit more lift as you twist. Good, right forearm comes onto left thigh. Left arm comes over the ear, reaching to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Don't let the hips push out to your left, please. That's gonna be their tendency. So you gotta push out through your right hip. Push in through your left hip. Either way you say it, it's the same action. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come back to center, inhale, arms to the sky. Good, so give yourself your full spine first and then release the hands down to the floor. Good, drop the back knee, please. Move that right hip back in space, wiggle the left leg forward to straight, Ardha Hanumanasana. Good, curl the toes back. Nice, and then both hands come inside the front foot. Walk to your right just a little bit. So again, you're making a little more space in your side body. And then turn your left toes in a lot. As the toes turn in, pull the inner thigh wide, pull your sit bone wide. Good. And then push your right inner thigh wide to the right. So you're keeping that right hip on top of the right knee. Good. And you're activating those muscles, those pushing wide muscles. Good. And then scoop into your low belly. Nice. And then you're going to keep that scoop, but start to drag your left sit bone back and in. So you're bringing your pelvis back to face forward. Let your toes come up. Try to keep your hands inside the front foot so you keep that space in your side body. Good. And then walk your torso back in so that your hands frame the front leg. Beautiful. Keep your inner thighs pushing wide, and then drop the forehead towards your shin any amount. The concept of bowing is that that light is eternal, but if we don't put our mind in it, then we don't see it. We keep looking at the dark as though it's something different. We keep looking at those cycles as though it means that the light isn't always present. You got to put your mind there. Good. Walk your hands back in. Bring your weight forward so that left foot comes flat to the floor. Drag the heel in. Anjaneyasana, bring your knee forward over the ankle. Inhale the arms to the sky. Back knee stays on the floor. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Good. Nice, you guys. Pull up, pull up. And then bring your hands together at your heart center, please. Prayer twist. Right elbow comes to the outside of your left knee. Draw your navel in, draw your ribs in. Good. And then you're pressing the knee and the elbow against each other. Draw those shoulders down and away from your ears. Push out through the crown of your head. Good. And then you're curling into your belly to lift your heart higher, and you're drawing your arm bones together up into the shoulder socket. Shoulder blades come together behind the heart. Good. And then come back to center. Inhale the arms up to the sky. From your pelvis, lift up. That's it. And then release the hands down to the floor. Really good, Dana. Lift that back knee up, please. Take your left leg up and back, down dog split. Good. And then start to walk yourself back towards your right foot. Standing split, kick that left leg higher. Keep the toes pointing down. Good. Nice, you guys. Doorway to your own enlightenment is this moment. There's nothing more or less that needs to be for you to feel it, to know it. But if we don't know what the doorway is, we don't recognize it, then there's no way through. Walk your hands forward, please, back to down dog split. Good. And then release that foot back to the floor, downward facing dog. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Point the toes back behind you, stretch the arms back to straight, fingertips on the floor, palms facing down. So locust pose again, press through the front of your pelvis, lift head, neck, and chest. So find that feeling that it is the hip points, the front of your pelvic bones that are drawing forward and up, like you're trying to lift them up off the floor. So find that without clenching your butt, and lift the chest a little higher. Now keep the fingertips on the floor so you have something to push into, to feel your arms and feel your chest. And then from the inner thighs, lengthen the legs and pull up. So lift the legs because your inner thighs are pulling up, not because you're clenching your butt. Good. Nice, you guys. Front of the hips pull forward and up. Tail pulls back like someone's tugging on your ankles. Float the arms up, please. And then bend your knees here. Kick your heels and don't reach for your feet. Just bend your knees. And keep lengthening the inner thighs as you push your heels up towards the ceiling. Good. And keep drawing the heart forward and the front of the pelvis forward as you lift your chest. Nice, Stacy. Good. And then back to straight legs. Yeah, and then release. Nice job. Good. Come up to Sphinx pose for a moment. So forearms underneath your shoulders, elbows underneath your shoulders. Good. Press down into the hands, press down into your wrists so that it's not just your elbows that are bearing the weight, but it's the whole forearm. And then drag backwards as you pull your chest forward and up, almost like you're doing that cobra action again. Press down into your feet. And then try to find that feeling again where you are lifting the inner thighs just a little bit. They're not going to come off of the floor, but you want to have that feeling of engagement. My legs are awake. I am the pillar of light, where there is the whole spectrum of beginning, middle, and end. But I don't make them separate things. I don't need to be reborn because I always simply am. We say Satnam in Kundalini Yoga, that the truth is my name. So every breath that I breathe is I'm breathing in the truth that there is no cycle. There is no dark unless my mind gets confused, unless I see it that way. There simply is what it is. The light is eternal, and that light is you. So you find it. Good. Tuck your toes, please. Good. Round into your back body. So look towards your belly button, pull in, pull up through your ribs. Push into those forearms, please. And then from your inner thighs and from your belly, lift the knees up off the floor. Come into forearm plank. Good. Nice, you guys. Armpits have to keep pulling forward on top of your elbows. Yeah, move forward, Stacy. Move forward a little more, Lisa, or move your feet back. That's it. Good. Same feeling, almost like you are in locust here. Pull those hip points forward and up. Drop your tail towards your heels. Chest pulls forward. Yes. And then go ahead and walk your feet towards your elbows. Lift your hips. Good. Pull back into that forearm dog, dolphin pose, butt to the sky. Still pull your inner thighs up and back. Good. Nice, you guys. One more breath. Pull up, push into your forearms. No such thing as gravity. Nice. Walk your feet back just a little bit. Drop the knees to the floor, please. Good. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees. I know you want a child's pose. But come to sit on your heels or between your heels. Use a block if you need. Good. And then eyes closed for a moment. Find yourself here. Breathing like you are that pillar of light. We're coming up tomorrow is Father's Day as well, and we often talk around Mother's Day about the Divine Mother, and there is no real equal concept to there being a Divine Father in the yogic tradition. There's the energy of the Divine Mother, but there is no cosmic father per se. But there is the energy that said that is the counterbalance of the Shakti is the Shiva energy. So it's not Shiva as the person, but it's Shiva as that place that is holding that pillar of light. Where the Divine Mother is all of the possibilities of change. It's all the possibilities of the way that you can manifest, the way that you can experience the light that you are. Shiva energy is the reminder that it's all the same light and that will hold you no matter what happens. So can you find that? It's the place of stillness, that everything revolves through and around. And there's really no difference. Shiva and Shakti are the same. But if we're moving, we call it Shakti, and when we become still and we just feel the infiniteness of it, we call it Shiva. And we don't run to that as fast as we run to the goddess. One more deep breath. You are the pillar of light. And then bring yourself back up onto your knees, please. Good. Take your right leg out wide to the right, so you're on your left shin. Right leg out wide to the right, heel in line with your left knee. You got it. Good. And then take that right arm down the right leg, please. Take the left arm over the ear, but then bend the elbow and bring the hand behind your head. Good, you got it. So you're sliding the right arm down, you're getting into your side body. Good. And then you're letting your elbow fall forward just a little bit so that you hollow your armpit. Your left elbow is falling forward. Good. And then you're pressing your head back into your hand with that armpit hollow. So you're not reaching from the elbow, but you're reaching from your ribs. Draw your low rib cage in and back. Good. And the head is pressing back and wide. Nice. Now start to point your elbow over the top of your head. So slide that hand down to like the back of your neck and point that elbow out straight through the crown of your head. Get longer through the arm. Good. Beautiful. And then either stay there or go ahead and straighten the arm for a breath if you'd like, reaching as long as you can from your armpit still. So the arm being straight almost makes no difference. It just gives you a little bit of a stretch through the muscles of your arm. Beautiful. Come back up to center, please. Arms wide. You're going to reach that left hand or left arm back down towards the floor outside that left hip. You can use a block if the hand can't comfortably reach the floor. Good. Take your right hand to your right hip. Push that right hip up into your hand. Your foot is still flat, but push up. Good. So you get again into that spaciousness of the hip to the rib ratio, or the hip to the rib position. Good. Let your weight lean onto that left hand a little bit more, and then keep pushing up through that right hip. Float your right leg up parallel to the floor. Flex the foot. Nice. Bring your toes forward just a little bit so that the front of your right thigh is not hard. Good. And then again, lengthen your tail towards your heel. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt without getting hard in the front of your thigh again. So bring your knees slightly forward, but squeeze your heel in. Move your shoulder back now, and then maybe you reach back for the foot or the ankle. Good. If you are holding that foot, don't go into the hardness of your thigh. Keep pulling your knee forward and bring it more into your chest opening. Bring it more into your ribs opening. Nice, Jessica. Nice, Laura. Good. And then slowly release and extend back out. Beautiful. Bring that right foot back to the floor, leg extended. Come all the way back up where you started. Good. And then take the hands down to the floor in front of you with that right leg still extended. Walk yourself forward like you're coming into a modified down dog. Try to balance your pelvis. The groins roll in and back. So right inner thigh goes back, left inner thigh goes back and wide. Good. You can drop down to your elbows if you'd like. Your doorway to enlightenment is what stands in the way, what has to be dropped, what has to be brought to a place of stillness, awareness. Today, the brightest day of the year, the longest day of the year. Even if the light seems to disappear forever, it always comes back. It's the cycle. Good, walk yourself back in, but even in the dark, the light is still the same. That's what our mind struggles to understand. Come back to the second side, so both knees to the floor. And then you can bring your hands to your hips, come up to that high kneeling position, and then take your left leg out and wide. Heel in line with your right knee. So don't start with the heel back behind your knee, because that's going to create too much hardness in the front of that thigh. You're not going to have room to actually rotate the leg. Good. So left arm slides down the left leg. Right hand comes behind the head. So arm over the ear, but then bend the elbow, place the hand behind your head. Good. So you're finding your side body. That is the point here. You're breathing into that right side. Good. So press the head back into the hand. Let the elbow fall forward. So do that first. Elbow falls forward so your armpit gets soft. And then you can draw your rib cage back and you can press your head back. Good. And then you can start to move that elbow in the direction of the top of your head. So slide the hand down the neck, move the elbow towards that line of your side body the way it's already. Good. Nice, you guys. And then if you'd like at that point, start to straighten the arm, take that final expression of the stretch. Good. Beautiful, you guys. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Arms wide. Beautiful. Take that right arm out and down to the floor or a block. So you're going the other way. Good. And then left hand to your left hip. Push your left hip up into your hand because I want you to have that feeling that you are able to make more space in your pelvis by activating, by pushing into the floor, you can make more space. Good. And this is the point, right? It's for you to realize that you have the power to make more space.
Too bad. What time is it?
Technical issues going on here. Good. And then go ahead and let your weight come onto that right hand, please. Push that left hip up into your hand. Float the left leg up. Good. Nice, you guys. And then you can bring the hand behind your head, please, if you'd like. Bend that left knee. Kick your heel in towards your butt. Good. Don't go into that hardness at the front of your thigh. So keep the knee slightly forward and then take it more into lengthening your tail and letting the chest be more opening. Good, you guys. And then maybe you take your hand back to reach for the ankle. Good. Big, big, wide open chest. And then extend all the way back out. Beautiful. And then release that foot back down to the floor, please. All the way back to where you started. Good. Hands to the floor. Walk yourself straight ahead. Sending those inner thighs down and in. Yeah, Susan, you might have to just sign out and come back in because your video is frozen and I see you trying to fix it. Do your best. Good, you guys. Send those inner thighs back and wide. Yeah, I know, Mark. I tried, but because she's trying to fix her problem, she keeps getting unmuted. It's all right. One more breath, you guys. Drop in. Good. And then walk the hands back in, please. Come back to hands and knees. Do some hip circles, please. Move the pelvis. Good. When we talk about the light, of course, we're not talking about the state of things outside of you. We're always talking about your own experience of the inner light, your own experience of the infinite. Move your hips the other way. So the only thing that really has the power to dim that light is your own mind, if it scatters it. So our practice is that when we get scattered is, can you keep looking to the larger vision or the larger picture where everything becomes complete again? You may have to go really far out to find where that is, but that becomes the practice. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Can you bring me to the place that is the doorway to my own enlightenment, even if it looks not at all the way I want it to look? Come back to stillness, please. Drop back to child's pose for a breath. Good. And then back to downward facing dog. Nice. Right leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Take that knee forward and wide for pigeon. So your knee goes towards your right wrist. Slide the left leg back. Good. Send that outer left hip forward a lot. Good. And then start to walk yourself forward onto the forearms. Nice. And I want you to stay there on your forearms. So sometimes, you know, we say come down to your belly if you want, or do whatever you want, but I want you to stay on your forearms. And I want you to stay on your forearms in that intentional way, like you're doing Sphinx pose. So you're pushing into your forearms and you're continuously dragging back and feeling that lengthening of your spine. So your chest doesn't collapse, because this is what we do in pigeon all the time, right? The lower body is doing some intense experiencing. And so we let the upper body start to turn into whatever we let it turn into. Like we forget that it's part of the pose. So I want you to keep your upper body awake. That pillar of light. Don't cut it off. Good. And Shiva and Ganesh, because they are the leaders of, or their devotees, or the ganas, which is the yogic word in the stories for all of the dregs of society, right? For the ghouls and the demons and the goblins and the, you know, everything that is scary and that doesn't have a place in the world, they run to Shiva. And to run to Shiva means that they are also running to Ganesh, because Ganesh is Shiva's son. And so it's all those places in your life, all of those things that look like they have no place, that make no sense, is those are your doorways to enlightenment. And if you see them as part of your light and not part of your dark, they become skillful means. So how far do you have to get out of your own normal mind to be able to see them that way? How much light do you have to shine to be able to see them that way? That's what Ganesh brings us to. It's what Shiva is when we understand it. A place where all darkness disappears. One more breath. Good. And then stay on the left forearm, please. Bend your left knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Reach back with the right arm for the foot or the ankle. Of course, if that doesn't work, you can come up on the hand, or you can stay with same side, the same hand, same foot, if that works better. But try to find that opening of your shoulder here. So again, kick your foot back into your hand. Good. Long spine, heart open, throat back. Nice, Jen, good. Beautiful. And then slowly release, please. Nice job. Plant both hands, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Take that right leg up and back behind you to down dog split. Good. Beautiful. And then slide forward to plank pose. Keep that leg lifted, but drop it down in line with your hip. You got it. Good. And then put the foot down to the floor. So you're in plank pose. Turn onto your baby toe edge of your left foot. So left arm holds you, right arm to the sky. Good. And then optional here, if you can, float that right foot up off of your left. So separate the legs, and then bend your knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, and maybe reach back for the foot or the ankle. Have some fun. Good. Chest open. Long, long pelvis. Yeah. Sarah's having the most fun. Good. And then slowly extend back out. Really nice, Alice. Really nice, Jen. Good, everybody, really. And then come back to downward facing dog. Really beautiful. Good. Vinyasa if you'd like, child's pose if you prefer. So if you're doing the vinyasa, you're coming forward to plank, lowering down to your belly, going through your whole cycle. We go through those dark periods so that we can re-understand what light is. We go through those moments of ignorance so that we can re-understand enlightenment. Good. So you've come back to down dog. Take your left leg up to the sky. Good. Bring that knee forward and wide for pigeon, second side. Good. So place yourself consciously. Send that right leg back behind you so the inner thigh is lengthening, but your outer hip is pulling forward. So right hip swivels forward so that your left low belly can go wider. Good. And then walk yourself forward onto your elbows again. Nice. And stay in that Sphinx pose position. So you're not dropping yourself any lower. And you're keeping yourself in a position where your chest can stay lifted and where your shoulders are awake and you can feel your whole spine. Good. My daughter started playing this game with us where she tells us to go to sleep. It's the best. She tells us to go to sleep, so you have to close your eyes and put your head down on a pillow, and you have to pretend that you're asleep. It's my favorite game, except that she ruins it every time. That at some point she then says, wake up, right? And then if you don't wake up fast enough, you don't open your eyes and do whatever she wants you to do, then you get like hit with a rubber duck or something. But you find yourself, right, that there's that dream in our minds that we want to say, I really would just like to go back to sleep. It's so much easier to be asleep. But in the sleeping, we allow that darkness to overtake the light. In that sleeping, we allow there to be places where pain is going to continue to exist, and it doesn't have to. So we go through those moments where something comes along and says, wake up. Wake up. Those are your doorways. And if you don't wake up fast enough, then something will come along to give you a bonk in the head. It says, get up. Pay attention. And we hope that it'll be something mild like a rubber duck. They say that that's the experience of enlightenment. It's just realizing that you were asleep. It's realizing that the parts of you were not aware, that weren't awake, that weren't seeing things as they really were. So can you play that game with yourself, that any day you can say, any moment you can say, wake up, there's something here that you're not seeing. If you don't wake up fast enough, don't hit yourself with a rubber duck, just find your way into the next moment. Deep breath in. And then right forearm continues to hold you. Bend that right knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, reach back with the left hand for the foot of the ankle, find the quad stretch. So you can turn that forearm if you want. That's often more comfortable for the shoulder. Good. If you have to come up on your hand to be able to reach your ankle, go ahead and do that. So you're twisting quad stretch. Good. Nice, you guys. Chest wide open, chest falls open, shoulder falls back, head back. Beautiful. Nice, Lisa. Nice, Susan. Good, Mark, keep your knee on the floor. Good, you guys, release, please. Taking both hands down to the floor, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and then take that left leg up and back to down dog split. Good. And then slide forward to plank pose, shoulders over your wrist, drop that leg in line with your hip, but keep the toes lifted for a moment just so that you remember that length of your inner thighs. Remember that length through your low back and your pelvis. And then drop that foot to the floor, plank pose, drop onto the baby toe edge of your your right foot, right arm holds you, left arm to the sky. Chest open. And this might be enough that you just hang out here in Vasisthasana. If you can, float that left leg up off of the right so the top leg lifts, and then bend the knee, kick your heel back towards your butt. Lengthen your thigh, so pull that knee long, and then maybe reach back for the foot or the ankle. But you have to keep pulling your knees slightly forward so you keep your hips in line with each other. And then open your chest more. Good. Nice, nice, nice. And then slowly release, extend back out, pillar of light. Good, come back to downward facing dog. Nice job, slide forward to plank pose. Lower down to your belly, stay. Good, make a pillow with your hands if you'd like, or turn one cheek to the side. Where does the light come from? You can imagine your mind arguing like Brahma and Vishnu. Where does the light come from? What's its beginning? What's its end? Where is the dark in relation to this light? I want to figure it out. I want to define it. And the answer is that you can't. That's the greatest truth of yoga, that our mind can't wrap itself around because it's simply not big enough. But at some point we can find the edges of our own thinking. We can find our edges where we come up against that infiniteness that the mind can't hold. And we can allow that barrier to disappear. And we go beyond the mind. You have no beginning and you have no end, even though you have a story that begins and ends. But the light that you are is eternal. And the light that you bring into the world is eternal. It doesn't disappear when your body changes. It doesn't become nothing when your mind is lost in darkness. So the doorway, where is your boundary? Where is your doorway between that state and how you feel yourself to live every day? Start wishing for it. Start asking for it. Can I see it? Because it's not just going to drop on you one day. I mean, it could. But if you're not looking for it, if your eyes are not looking to see it, you won't. We call that being asleep. Find your way onto your backs, please. So opportunity for one more back bend here. So if you wanted to, actually, you could stay on your belly and do upward bow. But the option is to come into bridge pose, or if you are interested in coming into full wheel, you have that option as well. So it's your choice of a back bend. If you're doing upward bow, you're going to stay on your belly, bend your knees, reach, lift up, reach back with your ankles. If you're coming into bridge, you're planting your feet hip width, arms alongside you, either straight or elbows bent into robot arms. Good. If you're coming into wheel, same position as bridge, but you're bringing your hands flat alongside your ears. Hug those elbows in. Good. Start to lift from the armpits first, and then lift the hips up into your bridge pose. If you're coming into wheel, you're squeezing those upper arms and beginning to rise up from the armpits, lengthening your spine. Back bending is all about the space that you create underneath you and around you. So look for that equality of my shoulders and my hips are lengthening, opening to the same degree. Good. If you are in full wheel and you want to play a little bit, maybe start to walk your feet forward so your legs almost come to straight. If you're like, no way, and no way, Jose, stay where you are. Good. Nice, Alice. If you're in bridge and you want to play, take one leg to the sky. You could do that in wheel too if you want. Walk your feet back in, take one leg up. Good. Switch to the other leg, please, if you are in bridge. Keep breathing. Good. Full extension. You're not throwing your leg up to impress anybody. You're extending. Good. Release both feet down to the floor. One more deep breath where you are. And then slowly release the hips. Come all the way back down. Pause with the spine long, knees bent, feet flat. Good. Everything you do, it's an extension, an expansion. Nothing separate from anything else. If we start to move in that way where it's our whole self that is involved in everything that we do, then everything that we do suddenly takes on a different meaning. The problem is that we compartmentalize and we have a piece of us that's just doing routines and habits, and there's another part of us that's doing something else. There's another part of us that's just asleep. Can you wake up, be present, fully present for everything that you do? Draw your knees in towards your chest. Good. Take the right thigh on top of the left, stack the thighs, separate the feet, reach for your ankles or your shins. Squeeze in. Good. Then release and switch. Take the other leg on top. Flex your feet. It's part of the being fully present. Press your low back down to the floor. Good. And then unwind, hug the knees in towards your chest. Come into your favorite spinal twist. So you can have one leg extended or you can keep both knees bent. You can wrap the legs if you'd like. But spinal twist, dropping your legs to the right. Or if you have your legs wrapped, you can drop them whichever way they need to go. Your favorite spinal twist. And come back to center, please. Take your favorite spinal twist the other way. Know your own mind so that you can find the limits of it. Know your own mind so that you can find the doorways that are your personal ways into enlightenment. Because to know the mind, just to know it, it means that you're going to get lost in it. And that's the same as being asleep. So we wake up when we realize that there is that space that is beyond the mind and that we're able to live in that too. You are Shiva already, just as you are Shakti. When all of that changing, fluctuating comes back to a state of stillness, then you know the Shiva that you are, the eternalness that you are, the Satnam. Come back to center, hug your knees in towards your chest. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees, squeeze. Good. And then slowly release, extending the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you, palms up. Finding yourself falling back into the breath. Maybe falling back into a space where you know you're falling into your mind, but that your mind is the way to fall into infinity. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Find the doorway. Gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Let your body begin to stretch, move, whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest. Roll to your right side. Take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or lotus mudra, or whatever other mudra is serving you these days. The awareness is, as it expands, can go wide enough where it can see everything that used to be separate, that everything that used to be contradictory starts to become whole. But it means that we have to find the edges of our mind. We have to find the edges where we put a boundary between this and that, between me and you, between me and the infinite. And it's in that moment when we come up against the edge that the possibility for enlightenment becomes real. Because it's in that moment that we can wake up, that we can realize that the whole time we've been holding ourselves back from it, not it holding itself away from us. The light is the light. The sun shines on everything. The external sun shines on everything. The internal sun eternally is shining. There is nothing that can cause that to change, nothing that you can think or do. But it's up to you to find the edges in your mind where you wake up to that reality, where you're able to see that even your darkness is your light. And so Shiva is that when we fully understand it and everything comes into that stillness of completion. But Ganesh is the one that brings us there. Ganesh is the one that stands at the doorway and says, this is the obstacle that you need to understand for that barrier to disappear. This is what it looks like for you in your mind. So we call on Ganesh for that. Or call on Shiva, call on anything, it doesn't matter. It'll bring you to the same place. But start wishing for it, because you already are the pillar of light. You already are without beginning and without end. You are Satnam. But until your mind wakes up to it, it's going to seem like you aren't. So play the game where you're asleep, and then play the game where you wake up. That's practicing yoga. We'll close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. I bow to that light that's in me and that's in you, that never dims, never wavers, never ends, never cycles, that just is eternal. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to unmute you. Have a wonderful day, a lovely weekend. Hug the father figures in your life tomorrow, today, every day.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Thank
you.
Veronica.
Have a great day.
You too.
See you tomorrow.
How did this go this